This is Northeast Current. WQPX invites you to join us as we explore public affairs, current events, and arts and culture in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Now let's meet today's guests on Northeast Current.
Good morning and welcome to Northeast Current. I'm your host, Kim Aquilina. Thanks for joining us. We're here today with Alicia, Grega, and Mark Dzancewicz. Welcome. Welcome to Northeast Current.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're here to talk about something that, you know, is precious to you.
Yes.
One of your babies.
Yes.
You wrote a play many years ago called Finding Miss Kubelik.
Right.
All right, tell us about your journey writing that play.
Well, the play was originally written in around 2002, and we had a reading at the AFA Gallery. And I wanted to finish the play. The whole idea was to hear the play read, get a reaction from the audience, and then make the play better. Although I never had a chance to do that. I got involved in other things. So the last few months have been spent rewriting Finding Miss Kubelik, and we're going to have a reading on Wednesday, April the 16th at 8 o'clock at the Olde Brick Theater.
Okay.
In
So
Scranton.
you did make enhancements.
I did.
I heard some of the characters have kind of
Changed a lot.
evolved and gotten a little deeper,
Well,
maybe darker.
Yes.
It wouldn't be a marked way otherwise.
The play is about a gay man and a straight man, friends who meet at Weight Watchers. They lose the weight. We don't really meet them until after the weight is lost. But Kyle is gay. He falls in love with Charlie, the other man. Charlie is straight. When I wrote the play, I don't think I was out. I was probably still in the closet. So I don't think I played up the role of Kyle like I wanted to. And now that I've been out for a while, I feel like something I want to do. I wanted to play up this role more. And things have changed since 2002 in regards to the LGTB community.
You look at me.
You know more things than I do. So I feel in order to do the play the way I want to, it had to be rewritten, and characters changed, some new ideas brought in. So it's basically a totally different play than it was back in 2002.
All right. And this is going to be a staged reading.
Stage reading.
Okay. And then you're looking for audience input.
That's right.
You have
That's
a
right.
Q&A or
We will have Q&A.
secret ballot.
After the play is over, after the reading is over. The actors, I have actors reading the roles. They'll just sit on the stage, chairs, stand up maybe when it's their turn to read. Alicia's reading one of the roles, Aunt Bootsy. And when the reading is over, we'll open up the floor for questions.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm sure you'll get some positive and some constructive feedback.
I'm hoping.
Hopefully so, absolutely. Now, how did you get affiliated with the Olde Brick Theater?
Through Alicia, mostly, I guess. I think the first...
I worked over at the Olde Brick Theater for 5 years with the original play project through Scranton Public Theater, which I did that until June and resigned from there to work on my own scripts because I'm a playwright as well. And Diva Theater has since kind of moved in and taken over that space, and Paige Balitski is very supportive of original works and regional playwrights, and was sort of actively looking for something like this. So I kind of urged Mark to go over there.
Right. And she was more than happy. She had some dates open, and I took them and forced myself to get the play written.
Are you done yet?
No.
No.
Writers are the worst procrastinators. Terrible.
But with the deadline looming,
Yeah,
I
it
know
actually
I
comes
have
out.
to.
Yeah.
We have to set readings sometimes just to finish drafts.
Right. Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges in writing a play is being able to see that it can be produced, that it will happen, which is a challenge in this region. So maybe we're not going to get a full production, or maybe it'll be a long time before we get one, but we can at least do this. And if we don't get this far with a reading and share that publicly, then we're not going to get any further. So.
Right. And that's kind of the cool thing about this area is people always say, oh, there's nothing to do in Scranton, nothing to do in Scranton. Once you start finding little bits and little things, there's so much. There's so much, things like this, and I've noticed a lot of people in the, art community really support each other.
They do.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's really like a nice community of people. You're doing your thing, but you're helping out here, and you guys really support each other. That's great.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like you're seeing the same people everywhere you go, but
it's like Cheers. They all know your name.
But they're
You're
good
fine.
people.
That's good. Now, how is this space, kind of like the space for this reading? How is it a good space?
Well, the play's intimate. It's small, intimate, and this space is like that. The stage is, I don't even know how big the stage is, 20 feet by 15 feet maybe.
That's pretty close, yeah.
Small audience, maybe 60, 70.
75 max.
75 max. So everybody's close up. It's not like a huge theater where people are way in the back. So it works really well for it, really well. It's the kind of thing I was hoping for.
Excellent. Now you guys are bringing another great performance to Northeast PA. Do you have plans in the future to kind of do more of this?
We're always scheming. Yeah, I've worked in the Olde Brick Theater for about 5 years, and that is a really great intimate space, and you can do a lot with readings and smaller black box productions. I think creatively, personally, I've come to a point where I need a big space. I need a set where I could put a big heap of construction rubble in the middle and make it environmental theater and have people all around it, and so I kind of need to see how to make that happen, and as long as I was there doing the same kind of projects, it wasn't going to happen, which is why I kind of cut myself free from that. But we'll see. We're always coming up with new ideas and trying to do something that matters to people in the community. I think that's important for me. I'm not a big fan of vanity theater projects where it's, my vision, and I want to do something that will mean something to other people. And that's one of the things that's really nice about Mark's play too. It's, the story of unrequited love, and I can relate to Kyle. I don't have to.
Absolutely. And I think anybody who's been in high school can relate to unrequited love, looking at that, that crush. But yeah, that's a common theme throughout everybody's life. I mean, otherwise, OK Cupid wouldn't be off, I think.
Well, the idea is for it to appeal to a wider audience. I could have tailored it so it would just appeal to, a handful of gay men, but what's the point? You want as many people as to see it. So that's the idea for me, anyway.
Right. But you're writing this for a story, not just for an audience.
No,
so I mean, this is
right. And so
personal.
So Kyle's story it's a human story. It's not about him being gay.
Right.
It's about him being in love with someone who isn't necessarily going to love him back.
And see, the first play was more about Kyle being gay. It was more about Kyle coming out to his father and coming out at work. And now we don't even talk about it that much. It's just he's gay, and this is what's happening in his life. Gay is another aspect of his life.
And congratulations on that, by the way.
Oh.
When you first started, did you have any idea that would give you the strength, kind of, to come out?
No. I don't know. No. I did it.
No.
Nope.
Well, that's the good thing about getting older. We were talking about that before. You just don't really care as much about the smaller things that seem really big to you when you're younger. It's like, oh, who cares?
Right.
And it is a big difference from when I was young. There weren't any gay characters on TV. There was rarely any movies that had gay characters in them. So now it's so different. You see them; they're more visible. Everybody's visible now. So yeah, it's a whole different.
Still not quite central.
No.
Getting there. Now, can you tell me about some of the other cast members, the other characters? I know you're playing a character in Bootsy.
Aunt Bootsy.
Yes.
Who is, I call her wisecracking.
She's a wisecracking Actually, she's an alcoholic, too.
Yeah.
And
By the
she
way.
runs a French restaurant.
Nobody will be able to relate to that at all.
She is the owner and chef of a French restaurant because she likes French food. Let's see, some of the other characters besides Kyle and Charlie is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a waitress who works for Aunt Bootsy. And Aunt Bootsy introduces Elizabeth to Charlie because she wants Kyle to kind of break away from Charlie, so that's why she introduces Elizabeth to Charlie. Charlie wants, or Kyle, once Charlie gets involved with Elizabeth, decides he's going to go off on his own, goes to New York City and meets a male prostitute by the name of Austin. So he's hanging out with him for a while. Then there's Elizabeth's ex-boyfriend, Jake. I think that's all the characters. Mm-hmm. And let's see, Alicia's playing Aunt Bootsy. Then Tim McDermott is going to play Kyle. Casey Thomas is reading Charlie. Camille Reinecke is reading Elizabeth. Tobin is reading Jake. And Anthony Melf is reading Austin. And then Sarah Regan is going to do the stage directions.
Oh, very cool.
And one of the things that you probably can't say is how funny this material is. And these actors are going to have so much fun with it. I know it's, I'm just sitting there laughing by myself looking over at Starbucks, you know, and we're not even on stage yet. And that's the one thing that, you know, you could talk about who the characters are, but just the rhythm of the language and the jokes and the way that, just things that you wouldn't think of that Mark has thought of that are just, it's great stuff.
You're so modest over there. So modest. He's like, really? Me?
he's just he's funny. And I don't know how to.
Thank you.
Well, that'll be fun for the audience
I
then.
have an absurd, I think it's a very absurd sense of humor. I see the absurdity in a lot of things, and I try to put that into the plays, because there's a lot of absurd things going on all the time.
But it's not the same
It's
joke
getting
you've
better and
heard
better
1,000
now.
times.
Yeah.
You know, it's very original, I think, and
Thank you.
it's a surprise. It's surprising kind of humor.
I know, I'm looking forward to it now. I'm really excited.
Oh, good.
Well, now, Mark, tell us about your background. Where did you study? Did the muse come from within?
I graduated with a degree in mathematics. I have a master's degree in mathematics from SUNY at Binghamton. I taught math and computer science at King's College for 7 years. The last year I was there, one of the college professors in the theater department asked me to play a part in Hamlet because there are never enough men to go around in Hamlet. So he asked me and I said fine. And I just kind of fell in love with it. And ever since then, which was 1986, I just wanted to do more and more and more theater. So I started out acting, moved a little bit towards directing, and then in the 90s I started writing. And I found out that I like to do that the best. I've taken classes in acting, directing, no writing though, I should. But, but that's where my background is. It's mathematics, science, but there's this creative side that had to be let out.
Absolutely. Now, Alicia, tell us about your involvement in theater and playwriting.
Wow. I started doing theater when I was in like junior high, I think, but I was very awkward and shy and didn't really get into it for a while. But by the time I graduated high school, I was either going to be a biologist or study theater, and I went for theater because I thought it was harder. I don't know if that makes sense. And yeah, like Mark, I've done acting, I've done directing, but writing is my passion as well, because I think it's because you really kind of get to do all of it in a way. I mean, you are sort of acting these characters out. I mean, my daughter makes fun of me all the time because, like, she says when I write, I'll be typing and my face is like making all these crazy gestures, and I'm like, well, it's because I'm acting, you know. And likewise, directing, you have to imagine the set and the place where these people are, and so you have little figures that you're sort of moving around in your imagination, and yeah, you really get to do all of it, and then hand it over and see what people can do with it. So yeah, I've been working on theater here since I moved here. Whenever I can. It's hard because I do have a full-time job, as does Mark, but we you know, do try think quality over quantity. Right.
Absolutely. Now, besides finding Miss Kubelik, do you have any current projects or anything like upcoming that you kind of have in the works?
No, this is it. I have ideas of plays that I want to write, but I haven't started any of them yet.
Okay.
But this is it right now.
Well, it seems to be enough. There's a lot going on in that play. It's very exciting. Can you tell our viewers again where to get tickets and where to catch the reading?
It's at the Olde Brick Theater, Wednesday, April 16th at 8 p.m. And there is a website, I guess, right? And
it's by donation, so you don't need tickets. Just show up and make a donation if you feel so inclined. And if you can't, that's okay too. We would rather have you try to scam free theater out of us than not come at all.
I hope she passes the basket around before the play.
Pass it once before, once after. Northeast Current would like to thank Alicia, Grega, and Mark Dzancewicz for joining us today. Be sure to catch Finding Miss Kubelik at the Olde Brick Theater. We'll be right back right after this.